What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk yet again about a state of play. Now, look, these are just a bunch of rumors, but what I want to do in this video is kind of put them all together and just talk about that. It very much seems like this is something that's happening. Now, this is not the first time we've talked about it this year. You know, it really goes back to the very beginning of January, in which Jeff Grubb had said there's going to be a state of play, right? And he made it sound like it was going to be pretty darn soon. We're kind of in the range of when he said it was going to happen. Now, that was one thing, right? We got the Xbox show. There's been talks of, a Nintendo Direct as well. And then there's, somewhere around this time supposed to be a PlayStation state of play, not a showcase, right? Just a state of play. Then, yesterday, we had Death Stranding 2 info come out. Now, I guess leaks, rumors, right? Whatever you want to call it. Rumored title, as well as them claiming that we'll see the game within the next 15 days, okay? Now, fast forward to today, and I'm going to make an entire video on Podcast Now Plus talking about the Until Dawn thing, but to throw it in here too, Until Dawn. Now, the rumor with that is also getting a PS5 version, as well as coming to PC. Quick little 2 cents here. I love that. I'm all for it, but again, we'll talk about that on my other channel. But that's another, rumor to add to the hat, right? So now you got Death Stranding 2. You got Until Dawn. You're already looking at a pretty solid state of play. You can go back a little while, even earlier, to Silent Hill 2, right? That's one that, we've talked about quite a bit on the channel. And there's been, direct quotes even from the CEO, right? That he's talked about marketing and promotion. That's starting very, very soon, right? It's going to happen, and it's going to be pretty darn big. So you can start to put together, and not that it's necessarily themed, right? Because you have some Western, you have some Japanese, maybe a little horror, oriented, because you got Silent Hill, Death Stranding. Death Stranding is not the most pure horror, Until Dawn, right? So I don't know. I don't think they're going to be doing something like that. I think it's going to be, right, a couple games that make sense, a couple games that we haven't seen in a while that we really need to see. And what I would classify as those would be things like a Stellar Blade. I'm going to keep, pounding the drum on that one because I really do think that makes a lot of sense. So Stellar Blade, Silent Hill 2 absolutely would also fall in that. And there's obviously been a lot more talk and behind the scenes stuff with Silent Hill than there has with Stellar Blade, but those two make a lot of sense. You add the rumor, of Until Dawn, and that just feels like this kind of out of left field one, right? You do a state of play. You maybe say before you go into the state of play, hey, we got 4 or 5 games, that's going to be shown. And then maybe Until Dawn is like a bonus one, right, that they don't really promote or talk about. It's kind of a surprise. I think that makes a lot of sense. And, you could throw in Metal Gear Solid 3, right, the remake. There's a few games, definitely, even beyond the ones that I just said. You could do something for Helldivers. If you put this thing out within the next, 2 or so weeks, it would come out before Helldivers. So anything like Helldivers, even Final Fantasy, which they're doing their own thing, and, they have their own preview kind of event thing that happened, but you could always throw like a launch trailer or a final trailer into it. So I really think if you do a state of play in the next week or two, and now this week is kind of off the table, right? Or, at the end of Wednesday, it's not going to happen tomorrow. They would give you a few days in advance. So for me, I'd either be looking at next week or the week after, right? Final week of January going into February. And then really I guess that next week would be like the launch week of Helldivers 2. So maybe next week. I would really hope so. And, as I keep saying, we just need games to kind of fill in some gaps, right? Like April doesn't really have a lot. May has Hellblade 2. June really doesn't have, and really you go forward from there, and you can predict games that are going to come out May onward, but you don't know the specifics, right? A lot of those are actually empty. This month is packed, February's packed, March is packed, but really, there's a lot of games that can come out this year, but none of them really have dates. So things like Silent Hill, you drop a date. Stellar Blade, Death Stranding. Now, Death Stranding, maybe end of this year, maybe beginning of next year. That one's, I wouldn't expect a date for Death Stranding 2, but Until Dawn can be this kind of out of left field one. And I think in the Until Dawn rumor, they had talked about other games coming to PC. We actually just talked about that too, right? If you could do like an infamous Second Son, or if this is the year for Ghost of Tsushima, if this is the year for God of War Ragnarok, right? Stuff like that. And a lot of this is PlayStation specific. I'm kind of just talking in general, but if you're looking at a state of play, yeah, drop 2, 3, 4 games, announce a bunch of them are coming to PC. They don't all have to come out right away, but you can kind of announce maybe a little roadmap of like, hey, here's 4 to 5 games coming out, PlayStation exclusives, that are coming out on PC, this year. So I think it makes sense. I think they almost have to do it. There's a lot of like unanswered questions, right? That's why I bring in Silent Hill or Stellar Blade. There's a lot of games that we need more info. We need dates, and can we wait till June for like a showcase? Yeah, and I'm sure some of these games we're gonna have to wait. I'm sure they're not gonna hit every single one of these games, so we will have to wait for some. But I do think for others, it's been long enough, and even not to compete, I guess, but like this is the time of year that Xbox normally goes, Nintendo normally goes, I believe, in February, right, for a direct. So beginning of the year, kind of just come out, show a couple games, take a break, and then you come out halfway through the year, May, June, July, and you do a showcase, and hopefully you show like 15, 20 games, right? So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icons turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.